Hey everyone, it's your boy Terry, coming to you live from the Fat Bat Cave. This is your Tuesday night pre-storm video. Not a lot going on today, so it shouldn't be too long. I know I said that every night. I still haven't shaven anywhere. As you can see, I'm still my furry, handsome self. Coming to you live from the Terry Cave. All my best blankets are hanging on my windows. Put up a funny, what I thought was a funny Facebook post last night, as my wife sits in the living room each evening for an hour or two watching 2020 or these true crime shows. I think my wife is plotting to kill me. That got a nice little reaction on Facebook today. Thanks for everyone who commented on there. I don't think she's actually planning to kill me. I think she's just slowly letting me die. Which I guess is a plot in and of itself. So they go, whoa, there goes the focus. We're hunkering down for nor'easter number 2. It's supposed to start hitting, I guess, sometime in the next 8-10 hours or so overnight. Hopefully our big wobbly tree survives this one too. I'll let you know. I don't have to go to work tomorrow, so I'll be just sitting on my couch staring at my window at my tree all night as the storm blows in. I'm just sitting down at the old computer rater looking at my notes. As soon as I'm done this, I'm going to get into doing some more editing on the... Oh, pardon me, excuse me. I just had a big gulp of soda. I'm not sure I can show the label, but it's the new cola that comes in new flavors. This one being ginger lime. It's quite yummy. Pardon me. It's quite good. We got ginger lime and cherry today. They also make mango and orange, blood orange. They're all pretty good. We went with lime and cherry today. Yeah, second big storm coming. I'll try to capture some video of the tree if and when it starts going. Hopefully it keeps blowing away from our house again. If it blows to the house, we get in the car, we go away, we get a new house. I guess it's we could use one. If you're stuck inside with the weather tomorrow, I can recommend I believe it's on Amazon Prime, a movie called The Lovers. It stars Deborah Winger of Officer and a Gentleman and Terms of Endearment fame, because she was much younger during those movies, and a man named Tracy Letts, who plays the dad in a great movie we watched last night called Lady Bird. And he's also a very well-known playwright. His play August Osage County, I believe, won a bunch of Tony Awards and was made into a movie starring Meryl Streep and Julia Roberts a couple of years back. I think they got a bunch of Oscar nominations as well. Not the most groundbreaking film. It's about a couple on the verge of separating who kind of rediscover the things they loved about each other. One commenter on my Facebook thread said, the movie kind of fell flat. I mean, it's not supposed to be Tomb Raider or Indiana Jones. It was just sort of a character-driven examination of this particular couple and what's going on in their lives. And it's predictable until it's not predictable. The ending, I thought, defied prediction, but was also still pretty satisfying. And I, as an actor for all of my adult life, I appreciate watching good actors act and clearly enjoying the material they're using, they're working with. It's called The Lovers. It's on Amazon Prime. If you don't have Amazon Prime, we were early adopters, so we got it for like $96 a year. It's whatever, like $8 or $7.95 or $8.95 a month breaks down into. And it's great because you get a bunch of free movies and a bunch of free TV shows. It's just like Netflix, not quite the depth of quality of materials. Now, actually, no, it's rivaling. Now that Netflix is spending all of its money in producing its own content, pardon me while I check the door, they're acquiring fewer and fewer quality movies and television shows. Each Netflix update is like one really good movie, 3 movies you've heard of, and then 5,000 movies from Korea and India in languages that I just don't understand. Which, if you like those things, that's great. I happen to not enjoy them, and that's not really for me. Netflix is really becoming its own network now with their own TV shows and movies. And that's kind of the model they have to follow. Because now they just made a deal with Disney 2 years ago to stream all the Disney products, but then Disney just announced they're creating their own creating their own streaming service. So all the Disney stuff is going to come off of Netflix and go to the Disney streaming app, which I don't think I'm going to pay $9 a month for a Disney streaming app. If you have kids, little kids, probably need it, but you can just download, you can rent them or buy them on Amazon for $4 for a movie or $20 to own it. Anyway, Amazon Prime. Netflix is the unquestionably best user interface as far as ease of use. But once you get used to Amazon Prime, it's easy to add movies to your or TV shows to your watch list. They also create some really quality original entertainment. Great, very darkly comic spy show called The Patriot. I may have spoken about that before. A few other shows I can't think of. Bosch, which is a detective show based on a series of, I believe, Michael Connelly novels starring Hieronymus Bosch. It's really good. 4th season's coming out like this week, I think. Anyway, The Lovers on Amazon Prime. This evening we watched the Gonzo Bananas movie 300 on Netflix. Zack Snyder's first major movie, Zack Snyder being the man who is behind the DC extended film universe of Batman, Superman, Justice League, Flash, Wonder Woman, Cyborg, all of them. It's a visually very interesting movie. It was kind of the first that was almost like a comic book come to life on the screen using a mix of live actors and CGI. It's also been called the gayest movie ever made because it's a bunch of big, tall, good-looking guys, super cut physiques in Speedos and helmets and capes with long, lingering, panning shots of these tall, gorgeous men with fantastic bodies that make me very, very jealous. It's an entertaining movie as well. It tells the tale of the army of 300 Spartans who held off an army of 1 million Persians. I forget the year. 202 BC? I could be wrong, though. Probably wrong. It's one of the classic stories of true history. 300 Spartans held off 1 million Persians for a good long time. They ended up eventually losing that battle, but spoiler alert from 3,000 years ago. Anyway, 300, visually very entertaining. If you are a person of the female persuasion who enjoys seeing men who look like I just described, you'll probably enjoy it too. I think my wife's half enjoying it and half cringing from all the CGI blood spurts that go across the screen. And it is not true to fact because there's like 9 tusked elephants and giants and sort of Lord of the Rings kind of creatures walking through there. But again, an interesting watch, entertaining watch, worth 2 hours. Based on the graphic novel by a writer and artist named Frank Miller, who is most famous for sort of redefining comic books and what they could be. In 1986, he wrote and drew a series called The Dark Knight, about an aging Bruce Wayne and Batman and his final battle with the Joker in sort of a dystopian future Gotham City. And that, along with a book called Watchmen, written by Alan Moore, sort of really redefined the comic book medium and what it could be. It went from being good and bad. Comic books went from being mostly for kids to almost all for adults. And for years after that, everyone tried to imitate and reproduce the success of Dark Knight with varying levels of success. But The Dark Knight really redefined comic books as we know them today as not just being for kids. I don't think there's any comic books for kids today, outside of a few DC and Marvel direct lines that are just produced for kids. And I just remember reading comic books when I was, 8 to 12 years old, and them being, mature, but I could still enjoy them. I just don't think comics are very enjoyable for kids anymore. That's why my guys, we have all the old trade paperbacks on our bookshelf. A 12-issue miniseries comes out over the course of a year. You wait a year, you get it all in one book, and you pay $25 for it. Or you can rent them. You borrow them from the library, which is how I have kept up on comic books for the last 10 years, because I can't afford to stuff 30,000 comic books back in my laundry room. Anyway, little sidebar there. Sorry, Frank Miller. I have the original Frank Miller run of Daredevil from Marvel Comics, where he really made his name. Another quick sidebar. I subscribed at age 13. Got a subscription to Daredevil, the Marvel Comics comic book, because I loved this artist named Gene Colan. Gene, Genecolan, if you want to Google his work. I just loved the way he drew. And in those days, I was mostly drawn to the comics by the visuals, of course. So I really gravitated towards artists that I liked. A guy named John Byrne, Gene Colan, John Buscema. So my parents allowed me to get a subscription to Marvel Comics to Daredevil. And the first issue I got in the mail was number 157, beautifully drawn by Gene Colan, one of my favorites. So I was looking forward to at least a year's worth of Gene Colan Daredevil comics. 11 minutes, still haven't said anything. I got issue number 158 in the mail and was bitterly disappointed that a new artist was on Daredevil named Frank Miller. Of course, it did not take me too long to fall in love with Miller's art style and, most importantly, his storytelling. If you know anything about Daredevil, which unless you're a nerd like me, you probably don't, the Daredevil mythos that you sort of know today, all the supporting characters and the villains, Frank Miller kind of invented. If you've watched the recent Daredevil Netflix show, that's really heavily based on Frank Miller's work. Frank Miller was really a pioneer. Went on to write and direct films such as Sin City, Sin City 2. There was a sequel to 300, a huge disaster called The Spirit, based on a 1920s comic strip. And now I believe his health is failing. He's not an old man, but I believe he has some substance abuse issues. Where other artists his age are sort of entering their golden years, enjoying an Act 3, he's kind of dropped off the face of the earth. Anyway, I'm also currently reading the Douglas Preston Lincoln Child book, Crimson Shore, starring Agent Aloysius X.L. Pendergast of the FBI. Coming off a 9 or 10 Robert Crais books, I'm not feeling quite as satisfied by the writing, but it's a pretty whiplash change in style from Crais, who writes in a really propulsive, always moving forward manner, to Lincoln and Child, who are sort of more meandering in their storytelling. I don't mean that in a bad way. They more about writing cinematically, where Crais is just go, go, go. But I'm getting more into it, and I have like 2 more on my kitchen table to catch up on. So by the time I get to that third one, I'll be reacclimated to their style of writing, and then I'll move on to some other writer. But Crimson Shore is kind of it's not lighthearted, but it's lighter than the most recent run of Agent Pendergast books, which really delved into his family history with his wife and with what's going on in his home. Another great series of books to pick up. They're not terribly difficult to read. They're nice mystery adventure stories. And Agent Pendergast is a really intriguing main character, sort of a mix of Sherlock Holmes and Doctor Who. He's kind of a weird guy with a great sense of deduction. Douglas Preston and Lincoln Child, Crimson Shore. Obsidian Cove, I think, is the next one. Obsidian something. Anyway, there's been a Facebook video floating around for the last week or so of our February Beatles show, the song called Jet by Paul McCartney and Wings, that was put together by John Fullerton. That video looks great. It comes from it's not just a standard someone in the back of the crowd recording on their phone, posting it to the internet. He set up 2 static cameras. Static means they stay in one spot, and brought his handheld. So he got 3 shots of the band, edited them together with the sound, and he produced a nice little promo video for us. I didn't ask him to. I didn't pay him to. He just did it. I think he's sort of pitching himself to me as a possible future promotional partner. John Fullerton is also the filmmaker that Kevin Ebner and I were talking to about joining TKO Productions. We had that initial meeting at the February Beatles show, and everything's in line. He's looking forward to joining the company at some point, but we don't have any projects for him right now. We might do some promotional stuff coming up for Downton Stabby. But looking forward to having John on board, as he is a film maker and a film teacher. Maybe next time we do a video together, I'll let him give you his resume. He's an experienced guy, does a bunch of stuff for like Cape May County, but I'm not sure I'm allowed to talk about that. Anyway, John Fullerton, thank you. The video looks great, sounds great. He's also our sound guy live when we're playing at Cabanas. We plug in, he makes us sound good. And he plays in a band, so he's a pretty all-around talented guy. More talented than me, I think. I'm not sure I like that. Anyway. Weight loss challenge. I am 1 pound lighter than when the weight loss challenge started, which is not where I wanted to be. But I'm coming out of the winter doldrum. I always put weight on this time of year because I go from running around at whatever job I have from summer till New Year's and then stop and do nothing. And then pick it back up in April. But each year, the starting and beginning weight just keep inching up a little more. But I'm going to lose weight this year, I promise. I'm already eating a lot better. I'm still on my no fast food resolution, which I'm going to carry through at the end of the year. Cheated once on the way back from Monday Night Raw, but had to because Henry was hungry and I was hungry, and the Burger King was the only thing that was open. What was I saying? Yeah, but I'm going to lose weight this year. Don't worry about it. I've already drastically altered segments of my diet. As you can see with this, ginger lime diet cola I'm enjoying. I think the beard's starting to look pretty good. What do y'all think? Not as dark as I remember it. But it's all right. End of the world tomorrow, so probably won't be able to do a outside walking video. And look at the eyes. Maybe I just need a lift. Is that what it is? Let me jack up that Patreon for some cosmetic surgery. I think this is just how I look now. It's a damn shame. I used to be good looking. I'll try a walking. If it's nice enough out tomorrow where I won't get blown down the street, I'll walk down and get Henry off the bus again. And we'll try. This is a tick. One of my favorite YouTubers, a guy named Diversity in Comics, coughs through all of his videos. I do this 50 times. I'm going to sit, if the weather's bad tomorrow, if we're all sort of stuck inside, I'm going to work on that Robert Crace sort of bibliography and give you my thumbnails and thoughts on each of his books. Downton Stabby, we talked about yesterday. Very exciting. I'm going to jump into that right here. Oh, my birthday story before we get too far into this. From age 0 to 12, my birthday was March 6th, which is today. Thank you. I can hear you all saying happy birthday. At age 12, I was signing up for Little League, and you had to have your birth certificate. So in the car, driving to where you have to sign up for Little League, baseball, and I look at my birth certificate. My birth certificate says March 7th. I said, Mom, my birth certificate says March 7th. And the car did this. Oh my God. Because my mother was so overwhelmed at having forgotten when my birthday was that she almost crashed the car. Oh my God, Terry, I'm so sorry. The dearest, sweetest woman that ever lived almost killed us because she was so sad. She was like, oh my God, Terry, I'm so sorry. Because I have a brother who's like an 8, a sister who's a 6, someone who's a 9. Not sure what months. I don't know any of my siblings' birthdays. That's what Facebook is for, to remind me. But I have 4 brothers and a sister. So there's 6 of us to remember. I think 3 or 4 of us have birthdays in the single digits in whatever month we were born. So she just got confused, song lyric to one of the first songs I ever wrote. It was wives get busy. Sometimes moms forget, and that's okay. So I thought it was cool. Mom, no, it's cool. It's cool. I have 2 birthdays now. So there you go. My 0 to 12, March 6th, age 12 on March 7th. But wait, there's more. From age 12 to 25, I celebrated my birthday on March 6th and 7th. Went home for Christmas in 1995. I believe I was taking Catherine up to meet my family for the first time. She still hasn't recovered. It was 23 years ago. And there was an unidentified baby picture. And, the pictures always come out. Oh, every holiday. Oh, and look at these pictures here. Oh, and look how cute. Oh, my gosh, look how young. And we could not identify a little baby picture. The classic with the white band on the wrist. So me, being smart, give me a magnifying glass. And I looked at the baby picture, and the little wristlet said March 8th. Ha ha. So we got on the phone, pre-cell phone days, 1995. Called all the cousins, all the aunts and the uncles. Does anyone have a March baby? If so, because I think there was a few in our family, but none even close to the 8th. So we deduced Occam's razor, all things being equal, the most logical explanation, no matter how improbable, is the correct one. I'm murdering it. So, baby picture is me. It says March 8th on the little bracelet. So, from age 25 to current, my birthday is now March 6th, March 7th, and March 8th. I really don't know when I was born. I'm assuming it's the 7th, and maybe my picture got taken after midnight, so it said the 8th. I don't know. Maybe I was born in April of 1942. I just don't. It would explain the bags around my eyes. I just don't know. I'm like one of those Cuban baseball defectors. Yeah, I was born in 1984. Right, okay? Anyway, that's my birthday story. I always thought it was kind of funny. I love sharing it. My wife has heard it a million times. In 22 minutes, still haven't really said that much. But we're going to wrap it up here soon anyway. Song recommendation of the week. A song called That's Just What You Are by Aimee Mann. That's two N's. Aimeemann. Used to sing in the band Till Tuesday. Had a big hit in the 80s called Voices Carry. Oh, 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 hush, hush. Keep it down now. Voices carry. That was her. She's been solo for a long time. It's a song that we played in my band, the O'Brien Brothers, which was myself, my brother Mike, and my wife before she was my wife. And I always adored this song. And then after Prince passed away, Prince was known for writing or ghostwriting a lot of songs for other artists that went on to become big hits. For example, Manic Monday by the Bangles was written by Prince, so he doesn't get the writing credit for it. The writing credit goes to Christopher Tracy, which is one of Prince's many alter egos. So my favorite other band in the world is Squeeze. So I just did a Google search, Squeeze cover songs or Squeeze songs written by other bands. And no one has really covered, or Squeeze has never written a big song for anyone else. But I discovered that the backup vocalists on this song, That's Just What You Are by Aimee Mann, are Chris Difford and Glenn Tilbrook, who are the core of the band Squeeze, two very distinctive vocal styles. And it's a song I adored for many, many years, and now I just adore it like 10% more after learning that my guys from Squeeze are backup vocalists on it. So there you go, little music there for you. Last thing we'll talk about. Oh God, I listened to an episode of How Did This Get Made, the great podcast I've recommended a couple times now. They were talking about the movie Ladybugs, starring the late great Rodney Dangerfield, which I don't think I'd ever seen. So it was on YouTube. So I watched it and then listened to the podcast, and it's hysterical. The movie it's a kid's movie starring Rodney Dangerfield. So it's not really a kid's movie. It's a kid's movie, but it's very inappropriate for kids. It's about a little kid's soccer team that Rodney Dangerfield is the coach of. Look, there we go. I'm really itchy tonight. So do yourself a favor. The YouTube version of Ladybugs is very difficult to watch. It's kind of super zoomed in. So if you're working on something, just kind of listen to it in the background. You'll just hear the cringy things that happen in this movie. And then listen to that episode of How Did This Get Made? It'd be a great introduction for you. Last thing. Okay, we're currently at 43 hours viewed with 34 subscribers. So we're very, very slow. At this rate, I will reach the 4,000 hours and 1,000 subscribers in the year 2746. I hope I live that long. And a great birthday present to me would be more contributions to the Patreon. If that's $1 a month, that's what you can do. That'd be great. We're inching closer and closer to the opening of Downton Stabby. We go into production in about 3 weeks. Yeah, 3 weeks we go into production, meaning rehearsals. And the more I can get going on that Patreon, the more stuff I can acquire for that show, props, lights, and such. And, of course, be able to pay the actors. Last question, exit question. The Eagles have set a price for any team that wants to trade for Nick Foles, Super Bowl MVP, first Super Bowl winning quarterback in the history of the Philadelphia Eagles, who, if he comes back next year, is going to be the backup. But other teams who are quarterback hungry in the NFL are making offers for Nick Foles. The Eagles have said, if you want Foles, we want more than what we got from the Minnesota Vikings for Sam Bradford 2 years ago. They got a first-round pick and a fourth-round pick for Sam Bradford. So more means a first and a third, a first and a second, 2 firsts. It means whatever any team is willing to offer that's more than a first and a fourth, if the Eagles want to accept that. I would hate to be Howie Roseman, the GM of the Eagles, because if you can get a first and second round pick for your backup quarterback in a year where you don't have a second or third round pick, it'd be real hard to turn that deal down. But you're also the guy who's going to trade the Super Bowl MVP and the first Super Bowl winning quarterback in Eagles history. I would not find fault with him either way. That's a tough. That's why he gets the big bucks to make these decisions. Anyway, that's it. Leave some comments. Feel free to share among your friends. Click on the About page. Get my Facebook, my Twitter, the Patreon. I'm not sure if you all can share my Patreon on your Facebook page. I'm not sure if there's a share button there, but couldn't hurt to put it out there. Get it in the ether. That is it. Oh, I had stuff to say about Chris Pratt when I forget what it is, so I'll think about it for tomorrow. Oh yeah, he had to apologize for something that's absolutely ridiculous. We'll get into that tomorrow and the politics of hate. I'm going to make a note right now. I'll talk about the Oscars a little bit. That's all. I'm pushing 30 minutes now. Till now, I feel like I didn't talk about anything, and here it's half an hour later. Anyway, I love you all. Thank you for your support. Until next time, be good.